Hey, Chance, push that button.
Welcome to the Fortress Files podcast. The First Lady Led Show, covering all things Vegas Golden Knights. Roll down the drawbridge and step into the Fortress Files. And to start the show, here's your hostess, Desiree.
Hello and welcome into episode 4 of the Fortress Files. I am your host, Desiree. With me today is my co-host, Aaron, and our guest, Anthony. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. How's it going?
Thank you for joining me today. Sorry for the absence. I have been battling sickness after sickness for over a month, and there's so much to catch up on.
You got the Vegas flu?
I probably had the Vegas flu. It was a really bad cough, though, and I did lose my voice for a period of time there.
Thank God.
That's not very nice. All right, guys, so we are going to be talking about a lot of things that have happened over the last month. We're not going to recap every game because I've missed like 10 of them. So there's no point in going over everything that everybody already knows. But the Golden Knights were on top of the NHL standings for a brief 24-hour period.
That is true.
What are your thoughts on that?
It seems pretty irrelevant in January, but it's still nice to know.
Still very good for a young team with this much talent to be putting up the numbers that they are and putting up their record of how good that they are right now.
That's true.
But still 3 months away from end of the regular season, so.
But just to say that they were number one in the NHL at one point in time during their first season is a huge accomplishment.
I agree with that, but there's also 3 months left.
They were also number one after their first game as well, so. I mean, if you want to look at it and get technical.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to say in their inaugural season, but I think expectations are past that at this point, so.
Expectations probably blown past everybody's mind already.
Well, yeah, we've shattered expectations. I'm talking about revised expectations at this point. I mean, you're talking about a team who was 200-1 to win the Cup preseason, and now, you know, they're anywhere between 7 and 10, depending on where you find them. So
I've even seen it as low as 3-1.
Did you catch them at 200-1?
150.
150.
$100 on 150-1. So,
jeez.
Fingers crossed.
Well,
I'll be rooting for you.
yeah, I'm fairly optimistic that we'll at least make the playoffs. I mean, there's no reason.
I'd be surprised if we don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, we would have to have a disastrous couple months coming up here.
They could play sub-500 hockey at this point in the season and still make the playoffs. Granted, they won't be a number one seed, but they could catastrophically collapse.
And still make it as
and
a wild
I believe
card.
they would
Probably
still make it as a
3.
wild card, yeah.
Or
Or a
even
3
3
seed in their
division.
conference.
Yeah.
Or division, excuse me.
So they're pretty up there.
Yeah, we got a 8-point lead right now as ahead of San Jose.
That's pretty substantial. That's a nice cushion.
Yeah.
Where were the Kings at on there?
They're down in 4th in our division right now with 55 points with 47 games played. So
If I'm not mistaken, they are out of the wild card spot right now.
Yes, because the 2 wild card spots are currently occupied by Dallas and Colorado in the Central.
Where did Colorado come from?
and even Minnesota's in that talk too.
Well, they're in that talk, but I'm saying if the season ended today, Colorado and Dallas would be your wild card teams. So, because the 2 wild card teams can come from either division, so
Yes.
that doesn't matter.
Well, it is still a huge accomplishment for this team to even get where they are right now.
It's that home record, man. They got to beef that away record up. I mean, obviously 13-9-2, not great, but I mean most teams are 500. I mean, the Lightning are an anomaly, but most teams hover around 500 for, you know, their road record for the season. So, I mean, 13-9-2 is a pretty good record. I'd like to see it a little increase because the more they can snatch games away or snatch points away from Western Conference opponents on the road, the less they have to rely on their, you know, pristine 18-2-2 at home. So, I mean, great. It's great to win at home. Obviously, everybody can win at home.
Yeah.
But, you know, in a 7-game series, if you've got to go play Tampa in the finals, you got to learn how to win on the road.
Okay, so besides having an awful power play,
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. I don't think they've scored this year.
no, we just had one.
Oh, you're right, against Carolina. Yeah.
Yes.
We've had a few power play goals this year.
But that was
They've only had one power play goal this year.
Out
I have to
of-
look that up.
well, from the Tampa game in Vegas until the Carolina game, there was 19 power plays in between that there was no goal.
Yeah, I think the walk-off goal in Tampa, or against Tampa, all the way into Carolina, I think there was no power play goals. I could be wrong.
I don't think you are, because the stats came out that there was 19 power plays between those times.
I have to get the crack research staff on that.
Are you checking?
Yes.
Besides the power play percentage, obviously not in our favor on the road, what else do they need to do to maintain a good...
Well, status quo right now at this point, they're killing penalties at an alarmingly good rate. So,
They're up there.
if you do fall behind in a shorthanded situation, you know that you can still rely on the guys to, keep the status quo. Because a lot of times for a lot of teams, going on the power play is the kiss of death, or going on the penalty kill, is the kiss of death. They're not really doing anything wrong on the road. I mean, everybody, like I said, a 500 record on the road is average for the league. I mean, the Lightning are 15-7-2. That's not, an average. Boston's 12-5-4 on the road. Those aren't average. Records for the road, and that'll probably even out over the course of time as the season winds down. Tampa Bay, when they're healthy, they're far and away the best team in the NHL right now. So when they're healthy, when they get everybody back, and they've got guys injured right now, you kind of put them on a different echelon. Vegas is tier 1A at this point. So a 13-9-2 home away record is pretty good. I think an issue might be Subban not really getting the reps that he's used to as the starting goalie. So he's kind of getting out of funk, which is kind of, he's been giving up a lot of goals lately. He's been playing well, but, unfortunately been falling on the short side. Should have beaten Florida, even on a back-to-back. And coach has got to figure out a way to keep Subban in rhythm, even though he's only probably playing 25% of the games he used to play.
Yeah, that's true. So I pulled it up here. The power play percentage, we sit 22nd in the league with 17.3%. So our our power play is not so great, which we already talked about. But our penalty kill percentage, I'm really surprised by this number because I figured it would be a lot higher. We rank 14th in the league.
We were not very good in the beginning of the year, and that obviously contributes to having a lower than expected. That's not a word, is it? Lower than expected penalty kill percentage, because now at this point, when you start out so poorly, you're almost really playing catch up with your percentage.
Yeah. I'm surprised to see this on here. Penalty minutes were second.
Yeah, we take a lot of penalties.
Jeez.
That is one thing. I don't know if they pride themselves on that. We take a lot of penalties.
I don't know if that's something you could pride yourself on.
No.
It's hard to. Unless if you're aiming for the Gordie Howe hat trick or something, I mean.
Well, that's kind of a characteristic of an undisciplined team. Also, that's also a little bit of the side effect of the NHL kind of cracking down on a lot of different ticky-tack penalties right now. I think we're the only team in the league off the top of my head that's gotten 2 face-off violation penalties.
I know. The other night, I'm like, what is this? What is it? I even asked you, what is a face-off violation?
Now you know.
Yeah, and it was really weird to watch.
Yeah, like I said, I could be wrong, but I've watched a lot of hockey, and I think the Golden Knights are the only ones that have fallen victim to 2 face-off violation penalties.
This season, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, this is the first season of them actually doing the penalty for it. So,
Well, before they were, but they're extremely cracking down on it right now.
well, last year they would just kick you out of the box after 2. They'd actually just kick you out of the box, and he would have the third guy would not be able to drop a stick. So it was basically effectively you were losing the face-off at that point.
Right.
I have to look at that. I don't think the penalty was enforced last year.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Well, let's talk about some optimistic things for the team that we've seen over the last month. You were actually in attendance at this game on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
We finally have our first hat trick from a player from the Golden Knights,
That is true.
and that was William Karlsson.
Mm-hmm.
Did you throw your hat in?
I did. I was in section 208, the second to last row. I tossed the hat. I followed the hat. The hat made it on the ice, so I was pretty proud. I'd never seen a hat trick live, so I even though the hat cost me $35 at the Arsenal, I felt it. I knew what I had to do.
Were there a lot of hats on the ice?
No, not as much as I thought there would be, given the circumstances and the magnitude of
What just happened?
What it meant. The first one in history.
Right.
There was a good amount, and the thing was hard because once Carlson scored, the ice crew knew it. So the ice crew was on the ice. So as people were throwing them, it was literally being picked up at the same time. So you really couldn't get a good estimate as to how much or how many were on the ice. But there was a good chunk. But I mean, there may have been 100 hats on the ice versus 18,000 people. So
And they didn't really give him a chance to bask in the glory of the fact that he got a hat trick.
yeah, I don't know if that's a safety issue at this point or anything, because it used to be a long time ago. You'd let the hats kind of float onto the ice, and then at the end you'd pick them all up. But who knows nowadays, with all the different scares and dangers, everything out there, who knows what's inside somebody's hat? And I don't know. I'm speculating on some nonsense at that point, but
It's kind of like the rats in Florida.
the rats in Florida, the octopi in Detroit,
Or wherever they go.
or wherever they go, because
Yeah.
they threw one in Vegas.
Ugh.
They threw two?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember the second one, but I remember the first one.
It was pretty much at the same time.
I wasn't. I remember they tossed on the one guy.
Oh.
I don't know what the policy is or how they're working that now, because hat tricks nowadays are much more infrequent than they were in the late 90s, late
Right.
80s. Between, 70s through 90s. I mean, scoring was up crazy
yeah,
over then.
like Bobby Orr, Wayne Gretzky.
You had Gretzky, who had dozens of hat tricks in his
Oh,
career.
yeah.
And, a guy who has 5 hat tricks in his career is probably a Hall of Famer at this point.
Yeah. It's a non-scoring era.
It's like pitching complete games now in baseball. You just don't have it anymore. It's
a
just
rarity,
rare.
yeah.
It's a rarity. We almost had 2 in that game. Austin Matthews almost had a hat trick of his own.
Oh,
So
no.
that would have been pretty cool, actually, to see 2 hat tricks in one game.
Yeah.
Well, technically, this wasn't the first hat trick on T-Mobile Ice, but it was the first hat trick from a Golden Knight.
Right.
Thank you, Dallas.
Do you remember who got the hat trick for Dallas?
Don't do this to me. No, I don't.
Faksa.
No? Faksa?
Radim Faksa.
Really?
Faksa.
This is the guy's name. Faksa. Okay.
Faksa.
Alrighty.
When he scored the third goal, I was like, Faksa.
Faksa.
How fitting.
I know.
Unfortunately.
Another first for the Golden Knights, Brendan Leipzig. Finally scored
I had
a
a
goal.
feeling you were going to mention that.
It's like in every episode
He's
that
got
kind of
2
thing.
now. That's old news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super old news now, but his first one did come against the Kings in Los Angeles in December. Yeah, December.
Good for him.
Kudos to him.
I mean, I think
Give
now we
yourself
can
a
all
pat-
kind of leave him alone now at this point and
yeah.
kind of take him for what he is.
Give himself a pat on the back and move on to the next game.
It was trending on my Twitter, though.
Oh, I believe it. I've never really thought about a season where a guy had no goals, and he wasn't really pressing. I mean, he's not a goal scorer.
He's more of a defensive forward, yeah.
Yeah, but with this new team and this new system, you look down at the scoring, you're like, everybody's scoring, everybody's at bunches and bunches of goals, and all of a sudden you're like, Leipzig is like, how the hell does this guy can't get in the back of the net?
Yeah.
So he became kind of an oddity in the fact
Exactly.
that everybody was scoring so rapidly. But over the course of the season, I don't think I've ever remembered a guy who I thought about. I'm like, man, this guy has 0.
Yeah, unless if he was like just the defenseman that would pass the puck or something. Or,
Well,
yeah, but
even then they get like
even
a
though
chip
they
shot
get a weird goal off a rebound or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
But now that he's got 2, I mean, he's like I said, we said in one of the last podcasts he'd finish 5 or 6 goals at most. It'll be a good season for him.
But the focus is finally off of him because there was a lot of people out there that were rooting for that.
I think there's just a lot of casual fans who saw
felt bad for him.
felt bad for him as everybody else was scoring. I mean,
Almost like that seagull that felt bad for you when we went fishing the other day.
yeah, let's not talk about that.
You got to hear the story later, so.
I'll tell you basically. So we were in Florida, which is one of the reasons why we haven't done a podcast, among her sicknesses. And I was catching 0 fish on the boat. So a seagull who caught a fish decided to fake pity on me and drop a fish next to my feet on the boat. So One of the only ways I caught a fish yesterday was for a seagull taking mercy on my soul and dropping a fish in my lap. And you're damn right, I put it in the cooler.
Yes,
There you
yeah.
go.
We took it home and we cooked it.
That a shame.
So, yeah, that was bad.
Would have been awesome if you video recorded that.
Yeah, if we caught it at the right time, that would have been pretty funny.
Caught it on, put it on AFV.
God, Buffalo and Arizona are equally bad. Like the exact same record, equally bad. I'm looking at the standings right now.
Buffalo at one time was making somewhat of a push, but not in that direction anymore.
Yeah, no.
12. They're both 12, 26, and 9 with one shootout loss. It's like equal records. Like they're equally terrible.
That's awful.
Jeez. Then now they're just fighting for who's the first pick.
I would say that's more success for Arizona because all the goalie drama over there.
Yeah,
They've been,
they've been going with.
5-6 goalies now.
I think they've been going with Wedgwood and Ronta now that everybody's healthy. But yeah, I mean they went with Ronta, Domingue, Wedgwood. They picked up that one kid. I forget. He was like he was like a Dylan Ferguson type. He was like pissing his pants when he was walking in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had. If anybody's had more goalie issues in the Knights this year, it's been Arizona.
Which is kind of expected, but
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about some of our players here. We've got a couple signing announcements that have happened over the couple months that we can talk about. So John Merrill, we gave him a 2-year extension for $2.75 million. Good decision or bad decision?
He comes at a cheap price. What do you say, 2.75 over 2 years?
Yeah.
So he comes at an average of 1.37 per year. That's pretty cheap for a defenseman who's probably not going to provide any offensive spark. And as long as he doesn't fuck shit up, he's good to go on this team.
yeah, I'm agreeing with that. It's a reasonable price for, I would say, average kind of player, especially with the cap increase coming during the off season. So
Yeah, definitely an average player. I don't see him too much on the ice, but when he what's his goals? How many goals does he have?
2, I think.
That's it?
it's the same as Leipzig.
So yeah, why isn't Leipzig signed? I'm just kidding.
Leipzig's a forward.
Just kidding.
I mean, John Merrill's a defenseman. He's 25 years old, so if he does progress, he has 1 goal and 1 assist. He had the game winner against Pittsburgh in the game we went to.
Okay.
He has 1 goal, 1 assist. He has 2 points. He's +5, which is a big.
That's a big
plus
factor.
minus is a big factor for defensemen because that's really where you're going to be graded as plus minus, your ability to block shots. He was a second-round pick in 2010, so we're talking about a 25-year-old who, if he becomes anything, you've got him for the next 2 years at roughly one of the cheapest prices. It's not entry-level if I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll probably, as this team progresses, be scratched more often than not. But if he becomes anything better, then great. If he doesn't, then
got
really
him
no
at a
sweat
good
off
value,
midfield. Yeah.
Okay, another defenseman signing. 1-year extension for Derek England at $1.5 million.
Surprised we got that cheap.
That's a hometown discount. He knows
Yeah.
his career's on the end. He's not getting signed by anybody else at this point. The thing I see now with this is I can probably tell you with great certainty that I would lay down a bet on I know who's going to be wearing the C next year.
He's been a huge face for the franchise since 1 October happened.
Why do people say 1 October?
I don't know. It's just the way they want it said.
I don't know. It drives me insane. Like, we're not...
I think it has to do with the Illuminati.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay, what is that?
Why? It's not 9/11 or something like that.
See,
I understand, but you're phrasing it in a weird way. That's very suspicious. Why not say October the 1st?
well, you only say it's suspicious. The rest of the world says it that way.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But not America.
I know.
America, we do our month, day, year.
Yeah, we don't abide by the metric system. We do standard. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why. I don't know. It's not anything that like I go day to day. I'm like, shut up. But I don't know why
I know.
people say 1 October. I know that's what they call it. But like you said, like 9/11. We don't call it like
September
11 September.
Yeah, and it's just weird, but that's the way that I've seen it set everywhere, even on the news. So that's why I said it that way. But yeah, I think since then he's really made a name for himself, especially at the first game when he came out on the ice and gave that great speech. A lot of people really, really like him now, and the whole city views him as, one of the faces of the franchise. So I think it's a good sign.
Well, he's always lived here ever since his time with the Wranglers, so
Right.
he's almost, if anybody would have been affected by this tragedy on that team more than anybody else, it would have been England. So I think England will be on a series of one-year contracts, kind of a la like Dave Andrechuk in the early 2000s with Tampa Bay. He'll be on a series of cheap contracts as long as he's productive, and when he's not, then I can see him really being kind of an ambassador to the team, being in the front office in some capacity or being a community, organizer with his family, because his wife's already kind of does that kind of thing. I mean, he's plus 14, in the plus minus. He's got 15 points in 45 games, so he's averaging a point every 3 games. I mean, for a defenseman who's 35 years old,
those are good numbers.
Pretty solid. So.
Yeah, those are really good
He'll
numbers.
have a one-year contract as long as he stays productive. So
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who's...
And like you said, I could see him working for the front office afterwards or being part of the scouting team or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he'll have
Practice
the
squad or
he'll
something.
he'll have the seat next year for sure.
Oh, wait a second. First one to retire as the Knight?
No, that would have been Shipachyov.
Yeah.
No, because his retired the number, so his jersey's hanging in the rafters.
I'm not
I don't
sure
think
about
so.
that.
No, I don't think so.
No? Who would be first, in your opinion?
Oh, come on, we're three quarters of a season in. That's impossible.
Okay.
We don't even know who's going to be on this team next year.
All right. I'm going to make a predict. That's
If I
my
had
prediction.
to make a prediction as somebody who sustained their play right now at a high level for the rest of their career, it would be Marchessault.
Okay. And you?
I would take a shot in the dark and say probably Fleury, just based on his prior performance and all that, and everybody likes him.
I see him retire as a Penguin, but that's just my opinion.
He's going to retire as a Penguin. You're talking about retiring the number? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he'll play here long enough to retire his number. If they do, it'll be kind of a pity. If they win a cup with Fleury,
That might be a little different.
they might retire his number, yeah. They might retire his number.
All right, well, let's talk about someone you just mentioned, Marchessault. Probably our biggest signing thus far, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, easily.
Okay. Marchessault has signed a 6-year deal with us for $30 million. I think that was divvied up as $7 million, $7 million, $6 million, $5 million, 3.5, 3.5, or something like that.
His average annual value is $5 million. That's what's going to hit the cap.
Yes.
Okay.
All that matters is your AAV, which is what hits your cap every year. So,
Anyways, that's a big signing for us because he's a very good player.
yeah, he's been doing nothing but trending upwards since his time with Tampa Bay and Florida. And now that he's getting a chance to play on the top line, I mean, he's showing exactly what teams are missing when they had him. I mean, he played pretty well in Tampa. Couldn't really get a shot with a lot of the guys. They had a huge farm system.
Is that a leaf blower? Motherfuckers.
Chico's out there.
So he went to Florida, got limited playing time, scored 30 goals when people were hurt.
Yeah.
Why they made him available, I don't know, but we're thankful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's why it was set up for us to get good players. The expansion rules.
It says who?
Everybody out there. That's one of the excuses that we're so good because the expansion rules were set up so that we would have good players.
The only reason they say that is, well, one, they're a little uneducated, but two, they're not wrong in the sense of they're in a better position than Minnesota, Nashville, and Columbus ever were
Yes.
to build their team. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is that they were still in a position to get basically teams' ninth best player. I mean, you're talking about you couldn't get any first or second years, so guys like Austin Matthews didn't have to be protected, so that didn't fill a spot. I mean, if you had to protect guys like that, like if you had to protect Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid, if you had to protect guys like that, then I could say, okay, they might have had some serious advantageous options, because if you had to protect first and second year guys like Jack Eichel, Connor McDavid, Nico Hischier, guys like that, then yes, this team would have been pretty stacked out the gate. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you didn't have to protect them. You did have to protect guys with no movement clauses, but that's your decision. You were the one that signed them to no movement clauses.
Yes.
So that's not the Golden Knights' fault. And Gary Bettman basically came out and said, hey, look, we want this team to be competitive, because let's face it, I mean, how many things are there to do in Las Vegas on any given night? Hundreds.
Jeez, a million.
So you need a team, if you're going to finally break this taboo of putting a professional franchise in Vegas, you needed it to be successful. So, I mean, I think it's best for the league that they were good right out of the gate. I don't think anybody expected this, which we've said 100 times. So If they don't win the Cup this year, it's not a big deal. But I mean, I think McPhee's set them up for success. And the thing is, in Las Vegas, McPhee is the perfect candidate as general manager to take a team to the playoffs every year and not win a Cup. I mean, how many years did he do it with Washington? I mean, and
dozen almost.
Ovechkin's entire career.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, he's the kind of guy that'll get us playoff contention every year with the right pieces in the right place. And I mean, not only are we good now, but based on the draft picks and everything he acquired, we should be good. I mean, he had 3 first round picks this year. He's got 2 next year. He's got, I think, 2 in 18 or 2 in 19, 1 in 20. I mean, even if he hits half of those, we're going to be set up for the next decade.
Oh, absolutely.
That's good.
I think he took advantage of teams wanting us to take certain players and giving us like an additional draft pick or additional like waivered player.
Or like William Karlsson.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't draft William Karlsson. We drafted Clarkson, who was a guy who probably never suited up for this team. You got to forget, we've got the guy from the Islanders, I forget his name, Grabowski, who'll probably never play. Yeah. Clarkson, who will probably never play. We got those guys. We drafted those guys with no intention they were playing. We had to get some salaries on the books. And then for drafting Clarkson, they gave us a first, a second, and William Karlsson.
Yeah.
I mean, how crazy is that? For a guy we have no interest in, we got a first, a second, and our leading goal scorer.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's teams almost shot themselves in the foot to try and get rid of certain players. But
I mean, we were going to take Wenberg at that point. Could you imagine if we had, Zach Werenski from the Columbus Blue Jackets, who's a top-flight goal scorer? Oh, absolutely. If we would have taken him, or if we would have taken, I think his name is Jack Wenberg, we would have taken him, who's a top-flight center. Would we be as good without Karlsson's presence? You know what I mean? He's got clutch overtime goals. He's got hat tricks. He's got 25, 26 goals this year. How would the outlook of the team look if they said, okay, fine, take who you want, and we took, God, if we took Jack Johnson, we took the defenseman who's 35 years old,
the singer,
yeah. If we took the aging defenseman who really nobody wanted, they ended up protecting him anyways. And we ended up with Karlsson. I mean, that's the thing. These little butterfly effect things that
all add up
to this team. I mean, like I said,
they kind of fit the pieces of the puzzle.
They took Marchessault in the draft, but Florida gave us Riley Smith in return for taking Marchessault. You gave us
additional players.
You gave us additional players for taking 2 studs who are on our top line right now.
So
yeah,
decent value at reasonable cost too, and then they were looking for stronger defensive players.
I mean, you gave us a Hall of Fame goalie, which they had. I mean, they weren't going to give us Matt Murray, so you figured it was going to be Fleury.
Glad we don't have Matt Murray at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Murray's still a top goalie, but they're not going to give away the 25-year-old and keep the 33-year-old. So.
Yeah.
It's not sensible.
So, I mean, you look at the makeup of this team and think one little misstep here, one little step there. You start to wonder, in 2 years, where guys like Cody Glass and Nick Suzuki fit. I can't wait for Brandstrom to get up on this team, but if Brandstrom comes up, then where does John Merrill fit? After 2 years, you let John Merrill go, and now it's time for Brandstrom to come up because he's going to start joining the system. You got Theodore, who's going to be a stud for a long time. You got Tomas Hika, who's sitting in the minors just chomping at the bit to get up here. Timo Pulkkinen. Where are these guys going to fit, Some of the guys that you see on the Knights right now, and it's sad to say, might be a guy like Bellemare or Nosek or Leipzig or Ryan Carpenter. Those guys you're not going to see here maybe next year or maybe in 2 years. So
or maybe come playoff time, like they might do some movement.
I don't know. They might have some movement. I honestly believe that they might be buyers at the deadline.
Absolutely.
It sounds crazy to think because George has this vision. Mm-hmm. But why not? Why not take one of those, that 2019 first round pick, package it with, maybe another pick and
Leipzig or something, or
not Leipzig, but maybe like a James Neal and go get Erik Karlsson.
Yeah,
I know that James Neal
kind of risk it for the biscuit, kind of.
Well, he's not a scoring defenseman, but you have so much scoring up front. I mean, Neal is great. I mean, honestly, Perron's never played better at this point in the season. Maybe Perron would be enough to get. Erik Karlsson. I know that he sounds crazy. Or Ryan Nugent-Hopkins or something like that. It's crazy to think that they may be buyers at the deadline. But
I think they will be.
I think at the end of the day, McPhee will sit tight because I think the fans will be okay not making a deal because it's hard to really say goodbye to any of these guys. We've only known them for 3 or 4 months, Yeah. So it's really hard to say goodbye to any of them right now.
Right.
So I think McPhee can get away with not doing anything. He's not going to. he's not going to piece together assets for a guy like Erik Karlsson unless he knows Erik Karlsson's going to re-sign here, and that guy's going to want $8 to $12 million a year.
Yeah.
So is that worth
The cap hit and all
your
that.
cap hit and your franchise at this point?
All right, well, we're going to jump into some more fan-related things. Last month? No, it was this month. FanFest at downtown that was supposed to happen on October 3rd. Had 10,000 people in attendance.
I heard it was jam-packed down there.
It was. From just the videos that I've seen, the carpet had gates on either side, and from the gates to the casino entrances was just filled with people all the way down Fremont Street. But I have to say, Chance had the most amazing entrance. I don't know if you've seen the videos on Twitter or any of the social medias, but he came down the zip line.
Yeah, I did see it.
That is
Sounds pretty sweet. I did not see that.
by far one of the coolest entrances I've ever seen.
Was it the zip line or the zoom line?
Was it as cool as the kid who went down the zip line and peed on everybody? Because that was pretty funny.
It was cooler than that.
I don't know. That's pretty hard to top.
I don't know, because that kid got in trouble.
I'm
Maybe-
sure it was well worth it.
Maybe we could call him the Pila Monster.
Oh my.
Boom.
So anyways, from what I heard though, once the players actually got down the red carpet and to the stage, they threw out a couple t-shirts and that was it.
Yeah, I didn't hear there was much going on. It was actually a player interaction. They signed a few autographs. They did a meet and greet. The thing about it is I wonder if, because this was scheduled for October before the game started, I wonder if they took the itinerary from October 3rd and didn't really change it.
I think
Possibly.
that's probably
Kind of
what
makes
happened.
you think, because they were like, hey, introducing the Knights, and they introduced the players. It's like, we know who they are. They've been playing for 5 months now, you know?
Yeah.
Or not even 4 months.
They're part of our hometown now and all that.
Well, had nothing happened in October and we actually had the Fan Fest on October 3rd, do you think 10,000 people would have shown up to it?
No.
How many do you think would have showed up?
Couple thousand.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah, 1,500 to 3,000 people.
Yeah, I would lean right around that same wheelhouse. Yeah.
Well, obviously,
I'm not saying it would have been a failure then, but it would have served its purpose in October. Whereas now, I think all these people probably expected more, and they probably should have changed the itinerary a little bit. From what I wasn't there,
Yeah.
so from what I heard, they may have been able to switch it up a little bit, and it was a little bit disappointing to a lot of people that I've spoken to. But at the same
Could have
time,
had the drone fly around or something, and
I don't know really what you expect to get out of a fan fest. Most people go to fan fest as a way to either get autographs or at least shake hands with the players.
take pictures.
Sounds like that's
kiss
what happened. It
babies.
seems like a success to me, but
yeah.
I understand that they actually only did the meet and greet and the signings for a 25 to 30 minute window. So that's not enough time for 10,000 people to
Each get a signature.
each get their time. So
Well, that, and I mean, those people that were at the gates probably weren't even leaving the gates to let other people come up and get signatures.
yeah, it could happen too. I mean, if you're trying to get signatures on every single player that was there, you're taking up a lot of the time from everybody.
Probably had to be up by sunrise to go down there.
Absolutely. And, well, I'm sure people were camped out. Not overnight, but they had that thing set up.
Sure, they had to drink and then come like 9 a.m. or something.
So a lot of people are out there to get autographs. What percentage do you think those are going to end up on eBay?
I don't know.
I don't know. Some percent.
Well, the
I'd say
reason
about 50-50 or something. I don't know.
the reason I'm asking is because at CNA now you have to be 14 years or younger to get a signature from a player. Thank you to the idiots on eBay that are triple pricing the autographs for players that all of us could have walked up to and gotten an autograph for ourselves.
I don't think that's why the Knights made it, block it off. If you get an autograph from a player, you can do whatever the hell you want with it. And if somebody's going to pay your price, then I don't see the problem with it. I think what was happening was the guys like that were, for
Out of
lack of a
line.
better word, boarding the kids, crashing kids into the boards, and probably a little out of line. And I didn't see any issues. The times we went, but it must have been the times we didn't go where there had been problems. And I don't hope this doesn't get taken the wrong way, but I can see a situation where like some spoiled Stepford wife like her kid got bodied by one of these guys,
And she complains.
So she basically ruined it for everybody. So.
Yeah.
I could see something like that. Again, I can't put words in anybody's mouth. I don't know the reason. I wasn't there for the press release as to why Chance's new station for 14 and under exists. Nor do I really care because, I mean, I like autographs. They're cool and the swag and all that. We have a lot of the memorabilia and stuff, but I'm not going to go crazy trying to get it. So
No, I was just
14?
mainly upset because we just purchased a very long photo from the first puck drop that we're in, and we wanted to have all the players sign around it and frame it and put it up in our house. And now I can't do that unless I acquire a 14 or younger kid somehow.
Let me borrow your kid for a day.
we have a dog who's less than 14. Can we take him?
He really likes your hockey games. He follows the puck.
Well, that and CNA has been jam-packed for the past couple weeks with people coming to practice. Mm-hmm. And it's not winter break anymore.
That's what we want, so.
Absolutely. No, I do like seeing that, but like there's literally nowhere to sit anymore. From what I've heard and seen. Actually, I've seen pictures. Like the entire stands are full.
It's really good, though. I mean, it's good that they're following not only their games, but they're following like their practices, learning newer faces, the younger kids that might not play it right off the bat, that maybe see a couple minutes of ice time compared to like James Neal or Carlson or something that's getting like 20 plus minutes on ice almost. So, I mean, learning those younger talents and all that, and seeing what they have the potential for, and see how they perform in practice. Just getting to know them that way is very key for some of the newer fans, in my mind.
Well, going into this weekend, we are heading into All-Star Weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And we just missed it by a couple days. We just left Tampa this morning. But we are sending Neal and Fleury to All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
For the All-Star game. And is Neal going to do the skills competition?
Who knows?
No, I know he's playing the game.
That is my favorite part of the All-Star game.
The skills?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, Kucherov is amazingly skilled, so I know he'll be in the skills competition. But I did see a picture of the front facing of Amalie Arena, and there are two pictures, as well as the All-Star banners, two pictures of players up there. And James Neal actually made the cut. He is on the building with Vasilevsky on the other side, so that's kind of cool.
It's very interesting.
Out of all the players in the NHL, those two are on the building.
Very interesting. I mean, you figure there's, 360 players in the NHL? Like, on an active roster at any given time?
Yeah.
Or, no, more than that.
Way more than that.
It's 600.
It's probably closer to 700 players. Yeah.
And James Neal was one of them. That's just crazy to me.
It's very interesting. It's cool. Cool that it's part of our franchise. And
close to 800. Figure if an average team has 25 guys, 31 is 775. So.
Oh, yeah, it's 31 now, not 32. Soon to be 32, I think.
More than likely.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
All right, well, something interesting that's come up across Twitter lately. I actually found this page through the Vegas Click, which is a Facebook group for Vegas Knights fans that does ticket giveaways. We are joined with Chachi from the Vegas Golden Knights Ticket Wish.
How are you guys?
We're doing good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, doing blessed. Wonderful here.
Good. Well, first thing, I mean, all of us are really curious as to the little hints that you've been giving away on your Twitter account. What is your mission behind all of this?
Oh, well, our mission, number one, is to give back, pay forward. Big thing that we enjoy is the fact that the Vegas community, with the things that have happened and the hurtful things that have happened in our lives that affected literally everybody, put a little bit of a negative on the city, put a little bit of a black eye in the city. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the city rejoiced and came together, and literally from local heroes to everybody coming together, helping out, was inspiring to me and inspired a lot. And I've seen amazing people come through the woodworks from, Love Vegas, Vegas Strong, we support you. And you know what? It was kind of our turn, with people nationwide to show love here. It's our turn to show love back to the community.
Right.
So considering we have, and again, I'm going to say this out there, one of the best teams in NHL, Vegas Golden Knights.
Yes.
We wanted to, and especially for me, being a fan of the Knights and a fan of hockey, number one, my best experiences was able to go to sports games and enjoy the love, enjoy the family camaraderie. And I hear quite often there's a lot of families that, in some games can't afford to go or can't travel and do things. And to me, I don't want little ones up to our older individuals losing out on priceless memories.
Right.
So we thought it would be a great idea to, hey, why don't we have and make it fun for people to get off their couches in the Las Vegas community, get out there, have some fun to do, whether with their little ones or maybe on date night, to where we'd love to have a little, I guess you could say, a ticket giveaway. We want to put ourselves out there and have a little scavenger hunt, get people involved and have some fun, and love to get them involved with our Vegas Golden Knights. So we are offering and giving away 2 free tickets to the Montreal Canadiens game that will be here in February, actually, so right around the corner.
Okay.
And what we plan on doing is we put out a few hints and some things that you can do and follow along to enjoy. We do have some local heroes helping us out. So we actually have this beautiful stone that we have made. Mm-hmm. And I want to throw out a shout-out to the person that helped us tremendously, Julie Brand from Righteous Rocks by Jules, painted a beautiful Golden Knights rock that we will be hiding somewhere in the city that you will have to find, and the winner will get 2 free tickets to that game.
So it's just that easy?
That easy. Well, wow. It's going to take some work.
Well, yes.
So we're going to make it too easy for them. But for us, we want to bring more people together. And, many times I hear, well, Vegas is just full of casinos. It's full of gambling. What is it to do with families? What to do with kids? We want to put more out there. We'd like to get more people involved. So this is from whether you're a little one up to, hey, even our veterans can be out there helping us out. We want to give back to those that we feel absolutely deserve it.
Right. I love that. So you mentioned that it's basically like a scavenger hunt. So from start to finish, how does it work?
Well, first of all, what we'd like for any followers to do, and once again, we just want to thank you for even reaching out to us about this opportunity. So first of all, throw a big shout out to the Fortress Files there. Thank you guys for allowing us to even put our name out there. Mm-hmm. And hey, if you want to get involved too, you are absolutely right now involved, since you actually went to our Twitter account, which I want to be clear for anyone that's following. It's as simple as going to our Twitter account, which is Vegas Golden Knights Wish Tickets. Mm-hmm. Want to go and thank Vincent De La Cruz for putting this amazing Twitter site together with Vegas Wish. And what we will do is we're going to put out some hints and some clues that you will have to do and post to Twitter. As long as we see that you're following the rules, we will go ahead and keep putting out different hints to lead you into the direction until ultimately we have a location where the stone will be hidden, which will equivalent to 2 free tickets, whoever gets there first.
Gotcha. How long?
Follow us, follow along.
Right. How long do you expect one of these to take place? Over a couple days?
Well, what we plan on doing is when we post these and put out these little contests, we will have a time that will need to be completed, considering the games do come and go every so often. So what we'll do is we'll have time slots. We'll have, trust me, we won't make it to where you're scaling buildings or anything, so nothing crazy like that.
Gotcha.
But we will make it to where, again, we will do things that bring the community together, that brings Vegas together, and really puts us on the map. So we do have a hint today. In fact, we have a very special celebrity sitting in those seats at tonight's game.
Okay.
That will actually help us to throw out one of the first clues out there. So definitely follow along if you guys are listening. And from there on, just be prepared. We have a few fun things up our sleeve, but also we do have a lot of support from our local heroes that are going to be helping along this. In fact, to let you guys know, a good friend of mine, Mark Lester, who is the president of one of the associations here, he actually is going to be having a golf tournament, the 10th annual Jeff Mann Memorial Golf Tournament on March 9th. That will be hosted by our Henderson firefighters for the Benevolent Association. We will also be raffling tickets at that golf tournament for a game as well. And some of the proceeds actually go to things like the Nevada Childhood Cancer, St. Jude's, Mu Casa Mu organization, where by us doing this also brings people together and helps local families raise money for cancer families, whether it helps with expenses, co-pays, doctors. So we don't want this just to be about tickets. We don't want this just to be about going to a hockey game.
Right.
We want this to transpire and keep paying it forward through other organizations, one organization at a time.
That's incredible.
So, Chachi, Aaron over here, it sounds like what you guys are doing is bringing a community together through this Twitter and through this hockey. What was the different organizations, the different businesses, the people you reached out to, what was their reception when you came to them and said, this is my brainchild, how do we get this in motion?
Well, the wonderful thing about our community is we didn't really need to do anything to bring the community together. Vegas has, and I've lived here over 23 years myself, has come together so much in this past year to 2 years since everything has happened, to where I am absolutely 100% proud to be in Las Vegas. I am so honored to be in this city and with these fans and with these people. So I think that the great thing about it is if anyone's even traveled here, visited here, whether it's business or pleasure, has put a stamp on themselves here in Vegas, has had experiences of a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And for us, when we mention the fact that we're looking to pay it forward and just put Vegas on the map in a family organization, a way to where it's not just about coming here and partying. It's a way to actually come here and see how beautiful and how righteous the city is. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we have organizations like the Henderson Fire Department, some celebrities that you will see tonight joining in this venture, and most importantly and I think for us, the biggest inspiration has to be the organization of the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The fact that during a dark time, to have a light, a sword in the stone, I guess we can call it, mm-hmm. From all the way from individuals like Mr. Foley to our awesome coach, Mr. Gallant, to our GM, the staff, the players, number one, for taking a leap of faith into a city that was unheard of when it comes to professional sports. And now, because of what they brought to the city and overcame, we are all family now. We are all Vegas Golden Knights. So I think anyone in the community that either has been to a game or is supporting has shown so much support on this and are on board to where we are excited to see where this is going to head.
It's well said.
Absolutely. So you're giving away tickets to the game coming up next month on February 17th. What's the frequency of how many ticket giveaways you're going to do?
Ooh, I love that you mentioned that question. We've actually thought and talked about this. We just wanted to throw this out there, just basically see how the response has been. Mm-hmm. And for and I'm sure you guys know, with starting something small and kind of, lighting that tiny little fire to where people will support and come together as long as you're doing things legally, morally, and ethically. Yes. And I think from what you guys are doing to help out, an organization like us to make this to where it's possible says a lot not only about you guys, but for us, we want to continue to do this year after year after year. So our goal is not to just do this once. Our goal is to get more families involved, and maybe for those individuals that can't afford to go to a game or, can't go out there and do things because of the so-called money, this is a way to where everybody can have an opportunity to get these tickets. So This is for everyone, whether you're local or not. Follow our Twitter account, follow the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, look out for a lot of the amazing things that are happening. Most importantly, follow the Fortress Files because they are amazing people. And let's get out there and show some love and support, and let's get the Vegas Golden Knights team and fans exactly what they deserve.
Now, Chachi, you mentioned to follow you guys. Where can one follow you on social media? You talked about Twitter. Where can they follow you on Twitter and or various other platforms?
Beautiful. Thank you for asking that. One of the organizations we've been stemming everything through, which we will funnel through, is the Vegas Golden Knights Wish Tickets on Twitter. If you want to go ahead and we will be posting on social media outlets as far as Facebook, We will also be throwing a few things out there at different organizations, as I mentioned. We are going to be giving a raffle giveaway at the golf tournament, so I suggest anyone who's in the area in March, please go register. In fact, if you can please register, here's going to be the site, if you guys don't mind, but it's HFBANV, and that's HFBANV.com. And that stands for the Henderson Firefighter Benevolent Association. So please go sign up, register, not only for the fact that you can win great prizes, but there's going to be a lot of great celebrities, golfers there. The community is going to be coming together, beautiful weather. Please come on out. And, hey, if it gives you an opportunity to win some free Vegas night tickets, then get your butt down there.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. Will you be doing this in future seasons besides just this one?
Well, we have a 5-year season ticket spot, so I have a feeling that we will be doing this for the next 5 years, and there is a rumor that we will be also getting additional tickets, so look out for us. We plan on doing this for as long as we are here in Vegas.
That's incredible. For
you guys, if you don't mind, I would like to, for the Fortress Files, is give you guys 2 free tickets to one of the games as well for helping us out. So sidebar, we can talk about that. We'd love to have you guys there as you're supporting us, whatever we can do to support you as well. So you guys got 2 free tickets on us as well.
Very generous. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. We'd be honored. Once again, with the golf tournament, I think that's an interesting, and I have a lot of golfers in my network of where I work and who I interact with. So I definitely will be on the horn, pimping that and pushing that for you guys to definitely be of assistance. And we're definitely grateful for what you've done for the community, for us personally, because that would be really cool to obviously go see Golden Knights games. And, as I sit here behind the glass, I'd like to, think that, during the dark times of the October 1st massacre, that there's still, beacons of light like we see in the intro video at T-Mobile Arena that are still out here, still doing good and kind of overshadowing the negativity that's kind of come over our city. So, I just wanted to say thank you for, what you guys have been able to do and what a lot of other people in this city have been able to accomplish.
Thank you, number one, because that's very humbling on our end, because we feel we're just regular individuals just trying to do things that we feel are special in our hearts. So, if this turns into something magical and anyone can get involved in this and ideas, and number one, we appreciate any golfers, any celebrities, anyone out who thinks this is a great idea and a great opportunity, who wants to get out there and show support. Please support us. We will put out there any kind of information you will need. We will also be doing different events throughout the year, so please follow and join the excitement that we possibly have. But, for something doing things great, this would never, ever be possible without the Vegas Knights organization. So a big shout out to them again, and great job in being number one. Go Vegas.
Yes.
Right
Go
on.
Vegas.
Right on. Have you been, let's move into the hockey. Have you been excited? Obviously natural, to be excited for a new franchise, but beyond your wildest dreams of what, the expectations, they've outperformed, I would say, in my opinion.
Way outperforming. And one thing I want to also give a shout out to is those haters out there that didn't think we can do it.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, the individuals out there, that, and again, we love you too. We love you. But the fact that you feed us with more negative, we will turn that into positive. So I think not only the organization and the team, from the players, literally taking a leap of faith, coming together. When we're out there practices, when we're out there games, and you mentioned the inaugural season, the first game, I happen to be on that video, believe it or not.
Very cool.
The first video there with my brother-in-law, Matt Mayo, and my little nephew, Ro. So he's the one with the long hair there. But that right there showed the love and support for us, and that right there just showing us in that video and in that moment and how happy we were and how blissful it was to be there with our younger generation, our legacy. This is priceless. So this is what we want to do in a position to where, price, money, everything aside, let's give everybody an opportunity to have that exact energy and that exact love for their families. Because at the end of the day, we all remember going to Disneyland and going to these places as kids and, the happiest place in the world. And it's unfortunate that as we get older and money gets involved, where those wishes and those priceless moments are gone because of a price tag. And this is our way of saying, you know what? We are going to give back. We are going to pay it forward because we honestly feel the happier you are, the happier you can make others.
That's a pretty special thing you guys are doing.
Yeah. That's
Thank you guys.
Whew. Very nicely put. Is there anything else you'd like to mention to our listeners?
Absolutely. We are not the only ones that can come out there and have an impact. If, and I call us regular Joes, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But you know what? When you have a wonderful idea and a wonderful opportunity to do something righteous, don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate. Go out there and see what living truly is. Go out there and really see what life has to offer. And a lot of the times, don't ever be scared of doing something that is unheard of or no one else is doing. Be a leader out there. And again, for the Knights leading us into the charge and leading us into being number one in the league. And again, hopefully getting to the playoffs. I'm going to stay positive for that one and possibly bringing that cup here to Vegas. I think that would be the ultimate Cinderella story.
Absolutely.
So we're all supporting. We know the fans are behind us, the team, the organization. We actually have getting feedback nationwide from individuals supporting the Knights, supporting what we're doing. Now we're breaking internationally for fans wanting to join in games. So we will be coming out with more outlets. Another outlet we will be using is not only Facebook, but we are also going to be doing some videos, getting more organizations involved. You will see us at different organizations around Las Vegas. So what I would highly recommend to anyone out there listening, follow us, enjoy it, and let's have fun together.
Awesome. Well, thank you very, very much for coming on and speaking with us about your organization and what you're doing for the community. It's really fantastic.
Oh, thank you, guys. It's our pleasure. And again, once again, thank you guys for allowing this to be out there, because without a voice, without an opportunity, without anything, this wouldn't be possible. So number one, thank God up above for making this possible. And number two, thanks for anyone out there listening, whether you support or not. You took the time to listen to this. So let this stem in at least worst case scenario. Hopefully this uplifts others to do some things in their lives to pay it forward as well. So Thank you, guys. And once again, thank you, Vegas Golden Knights. Go Knights, go.
Yes, thank you. Thanks again to Chachi for joining us over the phone for that awesome interview. And please be sure to check out all his social media sites. His Twitter account is @Vegas_wish. From the studio in Las Vegas, my name is Desiree. My hosts, Aaron and Anthony. Thank you again, guys, for joining in and helping me out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
You can catch us on Twitter @FortressFiles. Instagram is @TheFortressFiles. And if you need it, email is thefortressfiles@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, guys, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Golden Knights history here in the exhibition season goes to Tyler Waugh.